The receipt slipped from the briefcase like a death sentence, floating to the hardwood floor of our bedroom. Tiffany & Company. $2,000 for a pair of sapphire earrings. My birthday was months ago, and Nathan had given me a practical food processor. I'm Brooke, and until 5 minutes ago, I thought I understood my life. 20 years of marriage does that to you, makes you think you know every crease and fold of your relationship. But there I stood, holding evidence that shattered that illusion like fine crystal hitting concrete. Did you find the papers I asked for? Nathan called from downstairs. My fingers trembled as I picked up the receipt. Not yet, I lied, my voice steadier than it had any right to be. Still looking. The earrings nestled in their signature blue box, winking at me with cruel promise. They weren't meant for me, that much was clear. Nathan knew I hated sapphires. They're cold stones, I'd told him on our 10th anniversary when his mother suggested them. Patricia, of course, wore sapphires like they were her birthright. Brooke? Nathan's footsteps started up the stairs. Mother's waiting for those investment documents. Of course she was. Patricia was always waiting for something, my failure, my misstep, my inevitable breakdown. 20 years of subtle jabs and backhanded compliments had trained me well. I slipped the box and receipt back exactly where I'd found them, muscle memory from years of keeping the peace making my movements precise. The briefcase clicked shut just as Nathan appeared in the doorway. Everything okay? He frowned, adjusting his tie, the one Patricia had given him last Christmas. Fine, I smiled, the expression fitting like a mask I'd worn too long. Just scattered today. You know how I get. He nodded, distracted already. Mother says we need to discuss the summer plans. Something about a cruise? The cruise. Our savings account had been growing for 2 years, my extra hours at the firm finally adding up to something substantial. A dream vacation, we'd said. Together. Right, I managed. The cruise. We'll talk tonight? He grabbed the briefcase, checking his watch. I'm running late for the partner meeting. I watched him leave, listened to his car pull out of the driveway. The house settled into silence around me, but inside my head, a storm was building. 20 years of compliance, of swallowing my pride, of letting Patricia orchestrate our lives, while Nathan played the dutiful son. My hands stopped shaking. In their stillness, I felt something new taking root, something that tasted like justice and felt like freedom. They wanted a cruise? Fine. But this time I would be the one charting the course. Sunday dinner at Patricia and Roger's Victorian mansion always felt like walking into a minefield. Tonight, the sapphire earrings burned in my mind as I watched Patricia float around her pristine dining room, directing the placement of her precious china like a general commanding troops. Brooke, dear, you put the salad fork on the wrong side again. Patricia's voice dripped honey-coated venom. After 20 years, one would think. Mother, please. Nathan's interruption surprised me, but his eyes never left his phone. Some defenses were merely reflexive, like a doctor tapping a knee. Roger lowered his newspaper. Speaking of years, Nathan tells me you're still working those extra hours at the firm. A wife's place is wherever she chooses to be, I cut in, the words escaping before I could catch them. The room froze. Even the grandfather clock seemed to hold its breath. Patricia's perfectly manicured nails drummed against the mahogany table. Well, I suppose some women need outside fulfillment. Though it does explain why Nathan's been so distracted lately. My hand tightened around the sterling silver fork. Distracted how? Oh, you know, Patricia waved dismissively. Working late, important meetings. A man needs support at home, especially one of his position. Nathan shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. 20 years of watching him shrink under his mother's gaze, and somehow it still stung. The cruise will do you both good, Roger announced, as if declaring a cure for cancer. Patricia's been working with the travel agent. Top-tier suite, all the amenities. My savings account. Our dream vacation. Now commandeered like everything else in our lives. Actually, I smiled, setting down the fork before I could use it for something unladylike. I've already started the arrangements. Patricia's head snapped up. You what? The cruise. I've been researching options. Very exclusive. Limited availability. Each word felt like a small victory. I thought it could be a surprise. But Patricia started. That's wonderful, Nathan interrupted, finally looking up. Mother, you always say Brooke should take more initiative. Patricia's face tightened like a drum. Yes, but. I think it's settled then, I stood, gathering plates. I'll handle everything. After all, it's my treat. The look Patricia shot me could have curdled milk, but I felt something shift inside me. The woman who found those earrings yesterday wasn't the same one standing here now. That woman would have swallowed her pride with the overcooked roast. This one had different plans. More wine, Patricia? I offered, already pouring. You look like you could use it. The bank statement glowed on my laptop screen like a neon sign of betrayal. Our joint savings account, emptied. $20,000 transferred to a travel agency I'd never heard of, authorized by Nathan just hours ago. My hands didn't shake this time. They were steady as marble as I dialed Patricia's number, knowing Nathan would be there for their weekly lunch. The speakerphone caught the tail end of their conversation. Just need to keep her busy until everything's finalized, Patricia was saying. The poor dear works so hard, she probably won't even notice. Hello? Nathan's voice cut through, sharp with surprise. Wrong number, I said softly, ending the call. The pieces clicked into place like a lock mechanism, the earrings, the secret meetings, the cruise planning. I wasn't meant to be on this family vacation at all. My phone buzzed. Nathan. I let it ring while I pulled up Aunt Grace's contact information. Patricia's estranged sister had reached out last Christmas, sensing something was wrong. That woman's got her hooks in deep, she'd said about Patricia. But hooks can be removed, dear. With the right tools. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Patricia, clutching her designer handbag like a shield. Brooke, darling, she breezed past me into the foyer. I thought we should discuss the cruise arrangements. Woman to woman. Of course. I gestured to the living room. Tea? No time. I've taken the liberty of handling everything. She pulled out a folder. The travel agency's quite exclusive. They required immediate payment, so Nathan used our savings? The words fell between us like stones. Patricia's smile tightened. Well, yes. But you'll be so busy with work, and we thought. We? Nathan agrees you need your space. Time to focus on your career. She made it sound like a disease. The cruise will give everyone a chance to reset. I walked to the window, watching the neighbor's cat stalk a bird. Did the sapphire earrings help with the reset too? The silence stretched like a rubber band about to snap. When I turned, Patricia's face had lost its carefully maintained color. You've been good for Nathan, she said finally. In your way. But he needs someone who understands family values. Traditional values. My laptop chimed, an email from Aunt Grace. I understand values perfectly, Patricia. I smiled, thinking of the small fishing boat I'd just booked. In fact, I'm planning quite a traditional experience for all of us. The bird outside escaped, leaving the cat confused and empty-pawed. I knew exactly how it felt. But not for much longer. Aunt Grace's kitchen smelled like cinnamon and conspiracy as she poured us both bourbon at 10 in the morning. A fishing boat? She cackled, sliding the documentation across her worn oak table. Oh, Patricia will absolutely hate that. Perfect. It's not just about making her uncomfortable anymore. I traced the rim of my glass. Nathan emptied our savings. 20 years of marriage, and he didn't even hesitate. Men like Nathan don't grow spines overnight, dear. Grace's eyes, so unlike her sister's, held steel instead of silk. They need proper motivation. My phone buzzed, another message from Liam, the travel agent handling the real cruise booking. I'd met him last week, and his understanding of my situation felt dangerous, like a lifeline I wasn't sure I deserved. The transfer just cleared, I told Grace. They think they're boarding the Royal Caribbean next month. Instead, they get 3 weeks with me on my little boathouse. Grace's smile could have cut glass. No phones, no escape, just quality family time and my special brand of therapy. The bourbon burned less than the guilt in my chest. Is it wrong that I want them to suffer? Wrong? Grace stood, pulling out a photo album. Let me show you something. The yellowed photos showed a younger Patricia, radiant in her wedding dress. But it was the next image that caught my eye, Grace in a business suit, standing before her own restaurant. Patricia convinced my husband I was having an affair with the chef. Grace's voice held ancient pain. By the time I proved my innocence, he'd taken everything in the divorce. The restaurant, our savings, my reputation. She said she was protecting the family name. My phone lit up again, Nathan this time. Just checking the cruise details, his text read. Mother's excited about the suite arrangements. I bet she was. The boat is ready, Grace said. But are you? Once this starts. A key turned in the front door. I froze, but Grace smiled. Right on time, she said as Liam walked in, carrying a stack of falsified cruise documents. Everything's set, he reported, then caught my eye. Unless you've changed your mind? I thought of the sapphire earrings, the empty bank account, 20 years of swallowing my voice until I nearly choked on it. No. But I need to know, why are you helping me? Liam's face darkened. Let's just say Patricia's destroyed more than one family over the years. Some of us have been waiting a long time for someone brave enough to stop her. I lifted my glass, clinking it against Grace's. Then let's give them a vacation they'll never forget. The bourbon finally felt right going down. Like justice. Like freedom. Like the beginning of the end. 3 days before the cruise, Nathan touched me for the first time in months. His hand brushed my shoulder as I packed our suitcases, and I nearly dropped the sapphire earrings I'd stolen from his briefcase. You seem different lately, he said, watching me fold his clothes with mechanical precision. Calmer. Do I? I placed the earrings in his toiletry bag, right where he'd find them tomorrow morning. I suppose I found some clarity. His phone buzzed, Patricia, always Patricia, but he ignored it. About the cruise. He paused, guilt flickering across his face. Maybe we should talk about. Nothing to discuss. I smiled, the expression fitting better now with practice. Everything's arranged perfectly. The doorbell rang. Liam stood outside with the final travel documents, playing his part as the eager travel agent. I'd warned him Nathan would be home, but seeing them together made my stomach twist. Mr. Harrison. Liam's enthusiasm was flawless. I brought those upgraded suite details your wife requested. Quite generous of her, using her savings this way. Nathan's face paled. Her savings? The private account? Liam's confusion seemed genuine. The one she's been building for years? Mrs. Harrison said you both agreed. Brooke? Nathan's voice held an edge I'd never heard before. What private account? The one I started after your mother convinced you to invest our first house down payment in her failed art gallery. The words tasted like freedom. Insurance, Nathan. Against family emergencies. Liam cleared his throat. Should I come back? No, I said firmly. Nathan was just calling his mother about dinner tonight. Weren't you, dear? The look Nathan gave me was almost admiring. Almost afraid. He retreated to his study, phone already pressed to his ear. You're playing a dangerous game, Liam whispered once Nathan was gone. Patricia's been asking questions about the cruise line. Let her. I took the documents, our fingers brushing. Grace is ready. The boat stocked. Tomorrow, I plant the final seeds of doubt about the cruise documentation. By the time they realize where they're really going, it'll be too late. And Nathan? Those earrings. We'll start the avalanche. I touched the spot where Nathan's hand had been, remembering when his touch meant something. Sometimes you have to break everything to fix anything. Liam's concern was palpable. Just be careful. Patricia's destroyed people for less. That's the difference between Patricia and me. I closed the door softly, hearing Nathan's muffled argument with his mother upstairs. I'm not trying to destroy anyone. I'm just giving them exactly what they deserve, time to face their own reflections, with nowhere to hide. The earrings glinted in the toiletry bag, a beautiful trap ready to spring. Tomorrow would change everything. And I was finally ready. The small fishing boat bobbed in the marina like a waiting trap. I watched Patricia's face transform from confusion to rage as she realized this wasn't the luxury cruise ship she'd expected. What is the meaning of this? Her perfectly manicured hand clutched Nathan's arm. Where's the Royal Caribbean? Change of plans. I held up the sapphire earrings, letting them catch the morning light. Nathan, why don't you explain who these were really for? Nathan's face drained of color. Brooke, don't. Not for his mistress, if that's what you're thinking. I tossed them to Patricia. They were for you, weren't they? A thank you gift for helping him plan my removal from the family? Roger stepped forward, his authority wavering for the first time in 20 years. Now see here. No, you see here. My voice didn't shake anymore. 20 years of manipulation. 20 years of watching my husband choose his mother over his wife. It ends today. You've lost your mind, Patricia hissed, but her eyes darted to the boat where Grace stood waiting, arms crossed. Hello, sister, Grace called out. Ready for some family therapy? Patricia's gasp was almost worth everything. You're working with her? That bitter, jealous. Careful, I cut in. Grace is your host for the next 3 weeks. No phones, no escape, just quality time together. Like you always wanted. Nathan finally found his voice. You can't do this. I already have. The cruise documents? Fake. The money you stole from my savings? Transferred to Grace's account for your rehabilitation. I'll have you arrested, Patricia threatened, but her voice cracked. For what? Booking a family vacation? Everything's in your names, remember? You were so eager to take control, to push me out. Well, congratulations. You got exactly what you wanted, family time. Grace started the engine. Tide's turning, folks. Time to board. Wait, Nathan reached for me, real fear in his eyes. Brooke, please. I can explain. Like you explained the art gallery investment? Or the summer house scheme? Or why we never had children? Each word felt like releasing a poison. Save your explanations for Grace. She's an excellent listener. As they were led aboard, Patricia raging, Roger silent. Nathan looking back at me like he was seeing me for the first time, I felt something crack inside my chest. 20 years of love and lies, all ending on a dock on a sunny morning. Was it worth it? Liam asked quietly beside me. I watched the boat pull away, carrying my past with it. Ask me in 3 weeks. But as Nathan's desperate face disappeared into the distance, I realized the victory felt hollow. I'd won, but the cost was still being calculated, and I wasn't sure I could afford the final price. Grace's call came at midnight, 2 weeks into their cruise. Her voice crackled with urgency. You need to come. Now. I found Nathan sitting on Grace's dock, staring at the water like it held answers. The moonlight caught the tears on his face. Your mother had a breakdown, I said, keeping my distance. Grace told me. She kept screaming about the restaurant. His voice was raw. About what she did to Grace. To everyone. He looked up at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in years. To you. Nathan? I knew. The words fell between us like stones. I knew everything. The manipulation, the lies, the way she destroyed anyone who threatened her control. I knew, and I did nothing. The night air felt thick with 20 years of unspoken truths. She's inside, he continued. Writing apology letters. Grace's idea of therapy. Dad's helping her, if you can believe it. 2 weeks without her control, and he's different. And you? The question burned my throat. He pulled out the sapphire earrings. These weren't for her. They were for Jennifer. My heart stopped. You're my girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend now. Mother found out, threatened to expose her family's financial troubles unless I ended it. Said she was protecting our marriage. He laughed bitterly. Our marriage. What a joke. I couldn't even protect you from her. I didn't need protection. The words came out sharper than intended. I needed a partner. I know. Now. He stood, wobbling slightly. Grace showed me your private account statements. Every time Mother took something from us, you quietly built it back. While I just watched. Inside the house, I heard Patricia's voice rise in hysteria, followed by Grace's firm response. She's breaking, Nathan said. Everything she built, all her control. It's all falling apart. And the worst part? I feel relieved. He held out the earrings. I didn't take them. I filed for divorce yesterday, I said quietly. I know that too. He dropped the earrings into the water. They disappeared without a splash. I signed the papers this morning. Grace had them ready. From the house, Patricia's wail cut through the night. The sound of decades of manipulation finally facing consequences. What happens now? Nathan asked, but not like he expected me to fix things. Not anymore. Now? I thought of Liam, waiting at the marina with coffee and understanding. Of my new apartment, free from Patricia's influence. Of the life I'd started building while planning their downfall. Now everyone faces their own reflection. Even me. Even you? Revenge changes people, Nathan. I'm just not sure yet if it changed me for better or worse. The water rippled where the earrings had fallen, erasing the last evidence of our shared delusions. The last box from my old life sat unopened in my new apartment. Through the window, autumn leaves scattered across the courtyard like nature's confetti, celebrating something I couldn't quite name. My phone buzzed, Grace's weekly update. Patricia had finally agreed to therapy. Real therapy, not just Grace's version of it. Roger had moved into the guest house, learning to exist without his wife's constant direction. And Nathan? Nathan was selling the house. Ready? Liam appeared in my doorway, carrying coffee, our ritual now. The mediation starts in an hour. The divorce papers waited on my kitchen counter, all those years reduced to legal paragraphs and asset divisions. But something else waited too, a letter from Patricia, delivered by Grace yesterday. You haven't opened it, Liam noticed. Not sure I want to. I traced the envelope's edge. What if it's just another manipulation? What if it's not? The letter was surprisingly short. Patricia's usually perfect handwriting wavered across the page. I destroyed my sister's life because I couldn't stand her independence. I nearly destroyed my son's marriage because I couldn't admit my own failed. The sapphire earrings were my idea, a test of Nathan's loyalty. I've spent my life turning love into a weapon. I'm sorry I taught my son to do the same. You deserved better. We all did. My hands didn't shake as I set the letter down. They hadn't shaken in weeks. You know, I said, I thought revenge would feel like winning. Like finally balancing the scales. Doesn't it? I looked around my new space, no crystal vases, no formal dining room, no pretense. Just room to breathe. It feels more like breaking free. Like putting down something heavy I've carried so long, I forgot it wasn't part of me. The last box waited, patient as judgment. Inside, I knew, were the photos, 20 years of forced smiles and family portraits. Evidence of a life lived under Patricia's thumb. I picked up the box. "Don't you want to keep any of it?" Liam asked. "No." I headed for the door. "But I know someone who might." At the mediation, I handed Nathan the box. His confusion turned to understanding as he lifted the lid. "Your memories," I said. "You might need them while you're building new ones." He nodded, something like gratitude in his eyes. Or maybe just recognition of who we'd been, who we'd become, and the cost of both. Outside, the autumn wind picked up, sending leaves dancing past like tiny boats setting sail. I didn't watch them land. Some journeys don't need witnesses, only survivors.